Since 2017, the Italian Wine Podcast has exploded, recently hitting 6 million listens. Support us by buying a copy of Italian Wine Unplugged 2.0 or making a small donation. In return, we'll give you the chance to nominate a guest and even win lunch with Stevie Kim and Professor Attilio Scienza. Find out more at italianwinepodcast.com. Chin chin!
Welcome to this special Italian Wine Podcast broadcast. This episode is a recording off Clubhouse, the popular drop-in audio chat. This Clubhouse session was taken from the Wine Business Club and Italian Wine Club. Listen in as wine lovers and experts alike engage in some great conversation on a range of topics in wine. If you enjoy listening, please consider donating through ItalianWinepodcast.com. Any amount helps cover equipment, production, and publication costs. And remember to subscribe and rate our show wherever you tune in.
Okay, I just pressed the record button. Thanks, Giovanna, for reminding me. All right, so today we've got our first Clubhouse of the week. We've got Gianluca Queiroli, and he is interviewing Raffaele Boscaini from Massi Agricoltori. And so, before we begin our Clubhouse Ambassadors Corner, I would like to introduce Gianluca, an international tax consultant for 20 years. And he made a career switch and joined the wine industry 8 years ago. And originally, he's from Italy. Where are you exactly from Italy, Gianluca?
I'm actually I was born in Milan, in Lombardia, but I lived most of my life in Liguria.
Oh, okay. Okay. And which accent did you got?
I think I got more the Genova Ligurian accent because I spent most of my time there.
Oh, okay, okay. I actually don't recognize the accents yet, but I kind of see the difference somehow with the Tuscan accent. And I don't know. I really have no clue yet. So anyway, so let me just continue on with biography. So he's now based in Boston area where he owns and runs Wine Empire, and he's a fine wine retailer. And he holds a degree, a master in accounting and international tax, and speaks fluently in 3 languages. And he also dedicated himself into many aspects of the wine world, tasting events, wine education, and he became our Italian Wine Ambassador here in Vinitaly International Academy and Educator through the VIA in 2019, and is a certified French wine scholar, American wine expert in Bordeaux, Burgundy, Alsace Specialist, and also a sherry wine specialist. And he also holds a WSET Diploma and currently a Master of Wine candidate. And in 2021, he launched in US the Italian Wine Maestro Certification. So how's it going for the Master of Wine study so far?
I was really hoping that you would not ask me these questions, but I'm going to be very diplomatically saying that it's going at a very slow pace, but this year is going to be the year where I'll pick up all the slack of the last couple. So.
Yeah, I'm sure you can do it for sure. Definitely you can.
Thank you for the vote of confidence.
Tell me, why did you select Raffaele Boscaini as your favorite producer?
It's probably many of our listeners do know, finding wines outside your region or where you belong in Italy is not as really common practice. Of course, there are appellations that are more recognized and sold across region, and Valpolicella is certainly one of those because I spent my time between Lombardia and Liguria. I was very much exposed to, Nebbiolo, Barbera first and foremost, but my own father and grandfather were actually true lovers of Valpolicella wines. I think a friend of my dad introduced him to a couple wines from Masi. I believe it was a Valpolicella Classico and the Campo Fiorino. I never really tried growing up, but I always heard the name, Masi. So one of the first things that I did when we opened the store almost 9 years ago and, try to fit in the category of Veneto and Valpolicella in particular, I asked our distributors to actually taste the wines and is the first Italian wines that I ever brought to my store. Since then, we have a big display in the middle of the store, and is pretty much one of the displays that we never changed since day one. And actually, the distributor is a very good friend of ours, Ciro Pirone, that works for Horizon Distributors. So.
Yes, Ciro Pirone has also been one of our moderators here on Clubhouse Ambassadors Corner. So we love him for being our supporter for Italian Wine Podcast. Yeah, so that's really great to have Masi in your portfolio. And I think Raffaele is actually very happy that you've actually suggested him first to be part of the portfolio. So that's really amazing to hear. And so I would like to ask you the second question. What are the learning objectives that we should expect from this interview?
Yes, basically, we're going to run through a number of questions with Raffaele. I really hope that people will walk away from today's podcast to get to learn more about Masi as a family and their philosophy of making and seeing and drinking wines with a little bit of travel between and among past, present, and future. Also, we're going to touch upon things like, climate change, sustainability, and the state of the industry for the Valpolicella wines. So, and any other future and exciting project. So I'm really looking forward to this conversation today.
All right. So before I get on for the third question, there's a quick hello from Lindsay. And she said that hello from an American advanced sommelier from US here. So yeah, that's her saying hello. Hi, Lindsay. And okay, so last question. How did you discover the wines of Masi?
I was actually introduced to the name without tasting the wine from my family, from my father. And then we decide when we open, the store to taste some Valpolicella wines and his appellations. And I was really, struck. I am, struck today every year that I buy even the younger Valpolicella and Campofiorin and Barolo wines for our store. I actually store away 1 or 2 bottles, and I'll go back after a few years to kind of like compare and contrast. Is always like a fun thing to do. The really main reason is very, very simple, but it's very, very true. For me, the wines made by Masi, they're never boring. They always sort of speak to me. They always, give me like really great feeling, depending on whether, we drink a fresh, young wine or more complex and age, Amarone and the different labels and terroir. So very simply, put, there are wines that really, really excite me.
Okay, I'm very much looking forward to this interview. So I am going to mute myself now, and I leave the floor to you, Gianluca. Ciao for now.
All right, very good. Thank you so much, and welcome everybody. Good morning, afternoon, or evening, whatever you are, and hopefully many in the world. Just going to take a minute or two just to introduce our friend Raffaele Boscaini. Should probably take more like an hour given his experience and bio, but I'll make it short. So we'll go to the nitty-gritty of our conversation. So many of you probably know already Raffaele, or at least his family, producing obviously wines in the Valpolicella area for about 7 generations. His father, Sandro, was the founder and the chairman of Masi Agricola. And they truly are a leader in the Valpolicella Classica area. So for many reasons, some technical, some cultural, and certainly from a winemaking standpoint, really stands out. Raffaele, after he finished his primary schools, he obtained a diploma from the WSET in the UK. And then before he joined the family business, he actually had many experiences in Italy and abroad. You can only imagine from importer to retailers all along the supply chain. After he gained his experience outside Masi, he joined the family business in various and technical administrative roles, and little by little increased responsibility. Today, Raffaele is involved mainly, I wouldn't say only, but mainly in marketing aspects, and has been for many years now, especially as a role of general coordinator of the technical group. Together with his father, Sandro, and his sister, Alessandra, now Raffaele is the brand ambassador worldwide, and he particularly works with North and South America. But he also obviously has a great capacity and expertise in enology, and he's been called to speak to various conferences and seminars. He covered several roles, especially within the various sections of the Confindustria, from Giovani Imprenditori to Agroalimentare and the Lago Collina Veronese area of Confindustria. And today is the chairman of Confindustria Verona, and as a member also of the General National Board of Confindustria from the 4 years from 2021 until 2025. I think I've said enough. I'll leave it to Raffaele to add anything that I hopefully not omitted. I'll let you say hello, Raffaele, and then we'll start off breaking the ice with the first question.
Thanks, Gianluca, for this generous introduction, and good afternoon, good morning, or good evening to everyone, even on my side. What else? I don't have many to add, but maybe you talk a lot about my experience into the Confindustria, and it's something that I want to underline, that is the fact that I feel these feelings to be in a way, cooperation and association is something that belongs to my wine experience. I always think that wine business, wine manufacturing, and wine enjoying is always a question of sharing and having this opportunity to talk with people and enjoy them together. So that's why even my role in this association is so strong.
Thank you so much, Raffaele. It makes sense. Just by looking at your resume, you could not think otherwise once you see all these different roles within the certain area. Certainly speaks about volume and passion about that. So let's start with the first question. Very classic, ice-breaking. We'll give you a few minutes for you to summarize, and so we can bring everybody to the same level in case, I doubt, there is somebody out there not familiar with Masi Agricola. What are your highlights that you can give about your family business to the audience?
I think that the highlight is really what you say, the family business. So being a family that grow and through the generations into an environment, a specific environment of our land, trying to let's say, interpretate in this environment all the values, including the one expressed by the fruit of this environment, the wine, of course, but the values that come from the people, from the culture, from the way of living and the way of being in this world. So is an environment of farmers, an environment of countryside, where they say that the values are quite simple. Work, respect your land, your area, and the people around you. So this is probably the main thing that really make it together into our family, and not just my family, but the families of the area and even the other wine producers, food producer, or producer of anything in the area.
Grazie, Raffaele. Thank you. That hopefully will give everyone a really good sense. Masi as a family, first and foremost, and as a business is all about sticking with the historical context. And you guys have been around for many years, 7 generations. Masi Wines and the brand in itself is extremely well recognized, not just in Italy, but in many countries of the world. I think I left maybe a few months ago reading up to maybe 160 or 170 countries in the world. So as you come in the last few years of this 7 generations, what have you seen in the past, Raffaele, and what are, through the eyes maybe of your parents and grandparents, through today, what are the main milestones that Masi have been able to achieve and manage via tradition and innovation?
Yeah, so it's very clear, the question, and I have even hopefully a very clear answer. There are many milestones, but some of them are really more important and more visible. First of all, of course, not everything under my direct experience, but something that I've heard and has been told to me. But first of all, the first big milestone was the transition that happens between the 50s and 60s from the wine that used to be not just a commodity, but just a part of the energy that the humans need for their life. So really a commodity in terms of energy, as I said, became something that instead is a pleasure, as it is now for the most of the consumer. So pleasure and all the values that a consumer search. This happens, as I said, between the 50s and 60s. Then, of course, the second milestone was the one of the quality. So to enrich your quality, to improve your quality in order to have better wine, long-lasting wine, more pleasant wine. Wine that are more, let's say, equal to the standard that the French style wines were. Then, to me, a third step was basically equal at the same time to create both the personality of the wine. So a wine that speaks about what? About the other element that grows up, the brand. So giving a name to this wine that gets, first of all, a pleasure, then became a quality, and now is branded and with its own, character. And those are, let's say, macro steps or milestones, as you said before. Moreover, came the technical ones that are spread out all along the years and the centuries, actually, the technical ones that came, of course, of using tradition, normal local tradition of winemaking, grape growings, grape varieties, choose technique of winemaking, the drying of the grapes, appassimento, and so on. Those are all elements that were in the environment, in the cultural heritage of the area that my family, of course, uses. But then they became, of course, elements where we, of course, try to improve. So I can name several innovations led by Masi, but even by other producers, including, for example, the more effective and qualitative viticulture. We are in the 80s probably, but before that, more care in the winemaking, including, for example, the use of selected yeast to make a difficult process like the fermentation of the Amarone. Moreover, the, let's say, renovation or reinventing the system of ancient system of wash the pomace with some light wine to get a better wine. That what became after the release in the market in '64 of Campo Fiore became the ripasso technique. But then coming back on the yeast, even the selection of indigenous yeast that make the same job as the cultured one, or that we are going around 10, 15 years ago, even the DNA study on the variety that are better performing for drying during the winter time. So many steps, but all with a sort of link one between the other that create what, as you said before, Masi, it is now, is of course production of wine, but is even a name, is an heritage of a family, and even of course a specific character that I believe and I'm proud when I see people that say me, okay, as you said before, taste different or taste as Masi. I am expecting from Masi.
Thank you, Raffaele. This is really, I hope it gives everyone a really good handle on, the management challenges and work that needs to be juggled between tradition and innovation. I always love to ask these questions to my producers, to whoever applies, and somehow I always figure to have an idea, never much in detail like you described, but that goes without saying the tremendous amount of effort that Masi Agricola has put into actually establish his mission, his values, his culture. it's a follow-up of simple questions, but approximate how many employees, how many people work, today at the winery, Raffaele, and it's difficult to quantify how much time you devote to this aspect of your day or on an annual basis.
The answer is not easy. You're right. At Masi, we are around 140, but that's include, of course, not just the winemaking, the wine growing, and so on, but all the other elements that nowadays company are really necessary, including, of course, the marketing, sales, and so on.
Wine to Wine Business Forum. Everything you need to get ahead in the world of wine. Supersize your business network. Share business ideas with the biggest voices in the industry. Join us in Verona on November 13 to 14, 2023. Tickets available now at winetowine.net.
Moreover, we started a few years ago even another, let's say, business union that is called the Masi Wine Experience, that includes even the direct link to the final consumer. So it means that we are having some restaurants, wine stores run by us, and of course this allows us to have quite a number of employees.
Very good. So everybody's been warned. It takes about 140 people to conquer the world, if done in the proper manner. I guess I'd like to ask next something that maybe I'm a little bit selfish with this following questions, and is about really state of the market, sort of like a, present time. We all know, especially I am a retailer, the type of competition that stores, importers, restaurants, everybody through the supply chains, we facing globally. There are surplus of wines, of must, of grape, even though we're living in a very, special and challenging, time with issues directly and indirectly from climate change. But, clearly there is a lot of wines out there. We can discuss all day long where there's a good quality, moderate quality, low quality. But for Valpolicella in particular, what do you see in the near and the long term, future? How do you see Valpolicella wines in general, or if you like to add for Masi in particular, to overcome the state of the wine industry that we have today, Raffaele?
Wow, this is a big question.
Yes.
Anyhow, I would answer to this question with a sort of philosophy that we develop and we believe we really interpret day by day. So is with the nature at walk speed. So that is just a nice way or a more effective way to talk about balancing, to be right in the correct, sustainable way of dealing with the world of wine, with the world of the consumer, with the nature, with anything. So what means that? Means you talk about overproduction and many other aspects that can affect, in a way, the wine business or the wine industry in total. And this is something that, of course, concern us, concern all the community of producers, or concern even sometimes the countries and then the governments and so on. I always believe that the recipe is not to have a specific solution, but going back in what nature teaches us, balancing, doing the things with the right speed, with the right consideration of all the aspects that we are, of course, facing, let's say. So where to go with Veronese wine in the future is once again a question to be in ourselves, so keep track of our own origin, our own tradition, but keep innovate and being at the latest, I don't want to say not a trend, but at the latest needs of a consumer and even the needs of our earth in a way. What could mean being conscious of what we are doing in this exact moment.
Very good. Thank you, Raffaele. Folks, I think you're getting better and better grasp of what Raffaele is trying to communicate, and always going back and in circle to managing tradition and innovations. This is one of the most fascinating aspects to deal with this. And this is like those sort of things that unless you go and visit the property, unless you listen, and that's one of the main reasons why I love to talk to Raffaele throughout the year, is just really to soak up all this tradition and innovation. Let's switch the subject for a second, here, Raffaele. And I was for the first time at your properties probably prior to COVID, so almost 5 years ago. And it was down in the cellar. I saw this pretty large oak wood barrels. What I thought it was very interesting was to see the signature of various, folks from different cultures and different industry, to actually not just to put the name, but to actually sign on it. And that is where I learned a little bit about the Masi Foundation, awards and culture. Can you tell us a little bit about what this is all about, maybe how it works, so everybody actually gets more familiar and spread the word around?
It's a very nice story behind this and a nice reality nowadays. So first of all, the story. How comes that Masi feel the need to have a foundation and to promote the Venetian value? That was back in the 70s. My father was quite at the beginning of his career into Masi, and he was really very motivated to bring to the consumer, wines of a certain premium wines or ultra premium wines. But the reputation of the Venetian wine was very, very basic, very low. At the time, the Soave and the Valpolicella were sold in a half-a-gallon bottle with a screw cap, and that's it. It was a very generic wine and very poor in terms of content, but moreover, the reputation. And he wanted to, instead, to move steps ahead with the Amarone, with the Ripasso style wine, and so on. And it was really a hard time for him, and he was quite frustrated on doing that. So what was the idea that came talking with some friends, one journalist, one owner of a restaurant, and so on. So came out this idea, but why don't you associate your wine to the culture of the era, of the Venetian era, which is actually, as I said before, is totally true, is totally correct doing that. So in which way, if you give a prize to your land, so to the Venetian expression in anything, in art, in industry, in music, in poetry, and so on, and the prize itself is the wine, so that means that is valuable, right? That was the conceding of the Masi Award that take place the first edition in 1981. After that, this became a very nice story that after over 40 years, still giving prize to, as I say, the people of the Venetian area that really distinguish themselves or their industry or their opera all around the world. And the prize is, of course, a barrel of Amarone. And this is the idea that really runs very well.
Very interesting, very nice, amazing, and especially unique. And I actually did not know that it was all the way back to 1981. So it's been for clearly over 40 years. That speaks volume. We are going to ask you something of probably your core values or core, I should say, factors in today's role and what you do, Raffaele, what you do, best, which is, marketing, among other things. Can you tell us, very high level, what are some of the strategies that you have employed at Masi, whether in country or around the globe, that maybe work well and something, maybe that didn't, if you have anything, or maybe some others with challenges. So let the audience know how it really works.
I named before this Masi Wine Experience project. That is something that we are, of course, took place a few years ago in terms of structuring it but it's something that at the same time I always say has been always with us, because we believe for the unicity that we want to express in terms of production style and heritage and so on. We believe that approaching Masi means an experience, not just a tasting one, but more than that, hopefully. So this project that came out from my office wanted to create a real link between ourselves and the final consumer. You know that all the supply chain after us is quite long in order to deliver the glass of wine to the consumer. There's, of course, our sales manager, then the area manager, then the importer, the sales rep, and up until the end, the sommelier that pour the glass. So in all these steps, this message of uniqueness, of personality is pretty much lost. I always say is if you are lucky in the States, for example, in a restaurant in Denver, if you are lucky, the message delivered is a red wine from Italy, nice. And that's it. So after 7 generations of history and varieties and everything, we barely lose a good part of the thing. So how to bring the message directly to the consumer? So nowadays, fortunately enough, we have a lot of media that help us, like the social media, like this that we are doing today. I'm in contact with people, with consumers that are dealing directly with me. So it's beautiful. Nevertheless, we believe that to have an experience is even a physical place. That's why we open all our wineries and cellars, estates to be visited, and we open a series of restaurant, wine bars, or wine shop in order to really deal directly. Is it enough? No, I'm not satisfied of that because, of course, physical places are here and there, not everywhere. We have 3 of them in Italy and 1 in Germany, and we are seeking other place where we can open. But, of course, once again, we will reach a very limited amount of Masi consumer. So what is my aim? And I'm working hard to make it happen, to create a Masi experience of anybody that go in a wine store, in your wine store, and buy a bottle of Masi, bringing home something can create his own Masi wine experience. And this is a question, once again, of communication, of giving this perceived or effective extra value by buying Masi. This is the core of our marketing strategy, so giving something more. The people need to be fascinated to have and proud to have a bottle of Masi on their table.
Excellent. And Raffaele, may I ask, why Germany? And are you looking at additional openings that you can, share or speak of at this moment?
Why Germany? It's not Germany because it's Germany, because in this project we need to find some partner that are not just business partner. They must be Masi enthusiasts. They need to love Masi. Otherwise, could work, no story. But this message they want to make happen doesn't happen. So in the case of Germany, we have this guy that knows us since several years because he have a home here on the Lake Garda, and he come to our estate quite often and became a Masi enthusiast. He is into the food business because he have a company that is a caterer for airlines. And he said, okay, we need to open a restaurant together. And when it's said by a guy like him that is really an enthusiast of Masi, we say right away, find a place. And within 2 weeks, he found a place. and he's working very well.
Very good.
So because even, into the Masi wine bar or restaurants, you need to find someone that represent the ownership, the man in charge, like we have in Italy in the osteria. There's the hoste, and the hoste decided, right? It's not just a branded restaurant. is a restaurant with a soul inside.
I'm going to find a restaurant, I'm going to find an airline, and I'm going to convince you to open a Boston East Coast Masi experience. Is that okay?
Absolutely.
Very good, very good. Folks, go visit the one that in Italy is fantastic. So let me see here. So sort of like a big questions, but maybe not way too much into details, but it's such a current, issues that I really want to know your take on how Masi is really approaching and dealing things like climate change, sustainability, and all the good stuff. Everybody talks about it. You guys are doing something, so because I've been there, but I want everybody to know.
Big issues, everybody knows, everybody talks, and we need to act, and so on. I would say that I normally interpretate when we're talking with the word sustainability. I always remember that sustainability is not just to be environmental friendly. It's much more than that. Sustainability is at least in the three elements of course, social, economic, and of course, environmental sustainability. And this is as a first step. So we need to act and to perform in all these three spaces. When I talk about our experience as an interpreter of a land of terroir, as I said before, I believe that the first sustainability that you have to care is the one of your environment. So means, of course, the environment intended like a physical environment, but even social environment. That is something that comes with the wine industry, even if you don't want, or at least with the food industry. So is the supply chain. We are transformer of something produced by someone else. Grape ourselves, but even we buy grapes from growers. So this relation must be perfectly run and working very well. As a matter of fact, as an example, we do linked very much with our grape growers, having them to our, let's say, environment as a Masi brand. And of course, we work with them, deciding together all the operation to be done, how to grow the grapes, the quantities, the qualities, and so on. And this is something that we do in a way since the beginning. But the more interesting things, and happens to me a few weeks ago, where we had we have 3 meetings with our growers every year. And a couple of weeks ago, we had the one before the harvest. And this guy that is from a family, I don't know, he's quite young, came to me and he told me, Raffaele, I make the calculation. Is the 112 vintages that we deliver grape to your family. Can you believe it? 112 vintages in a row.
That's a long time.
This is a long time, but means that is really something that is we cannot live without them, and they cannot live without us, right? So, and probably I don't think we have even a contract. It's just 4 generations that deal in this way. It became natural. So this is the real sustainability in terms of at least economical and social. In terms of environmental sustainability, there's many things to do that we did, that we will do, but without really saying stupid things. So we are impactful. Anybody is impactful. There's no story. The impact zero doesn't exist to me really consciously, because in the morning when we step on the grass outside, we are having an impact. So the human activities are doing that. So what is the solution eventually? Is to be less impactful possible, and eventually to give back something to nature when it's possible with the many instruments. So, as I said, planting something, cleaning some areas and so on, or doing our best to make the environment better. And just to wrap up this consideration about the environment responsibility, I tell you this story that to me is quite touching. My grandfather used to, and we keep doing that. Used to in the past to when we put a new vineyard, we put the plants and so on. Instead of watering the first time, just end of the word, as a symbol, they water the vineyards with some wine, just a sort of giving back something to nature.
Wow, really, really fascinating. I think I was quite shocked to hear you saying that for 4 generations or over 100 years, you have this almost like a handshake, contracts that are not, contracts. And in today's business-driven, world when everything is extremely documented,
you need a lawyer.
Yes, yeah. I think this is very, very rare for sure. So, and I think you put it in a very nice way a moment ago. You need them and they need you. Where you find that common ground, I think you really, you continue to plant all the seeds necessary to succeed in the future. Thank you for sharing this, Raffaele. Is there, any new, projects, anything fun, anything new you can share? Really not necessarily on this sustainability topic or climate change, but from any angle. Anything, is it something that you particularly maybe you look forward to in the next 3-5 years?
We are always very open to innovation and to look around ourselves, what happens and so on. I can name a few things that we are trying to make happen. First of all, one is into the sustainability things. So we are now, of course, working in order to have the best out of it. So if we have global warming or at least climate challenges, let's say in this way, to be less scary, right? There are many things that we do and we can do to have, let's say, a soft landing, including, of course, choose a variety or training system method and many things or rootstock and so on that we are, of course, doing. I'm not really that scared about. Of course, you need to put attention to what you do, but so far, I have to say this climate change, in a way, can help a little bit, at least in our area, especially for the drying of the grapes. We have a beautiful grape coming out, so it's perfect for the drying in dry loft.
Very nice.
Other things that are embracing all other part of our business, of course, as I said before, is a matter of being close to the consumer, to talk with them, to understand them, and moreover, even to teach them something. But once again, not teaching the lesson of how to make wine, which barrel to use, and so on. I mean, if someone can be interested in that, but I need to teach the people how to enjoy the wine. I always say that as a wine producer, we really made a bad job in communicating wine until really, because we communicated wine in a technical way, making a sort of a wall between us and the consumer. I always think to an example. You buy your shirt, knowing you is probably an Armani shirt, right?
That's right.
And you buy it because you like it, because you feel that it's good for you. And you don't know anything about the cotton, where it's coming from, and you don't care. It's guaranteed by Armani and the style, and you fit well. And that's all. So always, when I have friends, of course, when I'm out with friends, I'm the one that choose the wine. And I have everybody look at me, what I'm doing, and so on. And they ask me, what should I feel in this wine? I say, what do you feel? Apricot is apricot. I won't say no. Or how do I know if it's a good wine? If you like it, it's good. If you don't like it, it's not good. As simple as. So
I very much share this philosophy because a lot of people ask and sell a lot of bottles and people ask always the wrong questions. Can you sell me something that you like? It's like, it's not about me. because what I might like, it might be completely different than what you like. Is what you like. If you like your big wine, tannic wines to be chilled, so be it. Just enjoy, what you have. Understanding what is coming from is just extra. We are wrapping up and getting close to the hours, but I ask to have one more minute because I need to ask this very last question. The last time I visit you, I walk out with your father's book, Mr. Amarone. And I have a very big reputation for buying a lot and a lot. I have storage with books that I either read for a third or not even open. I just love it. So your father's book did not even make it on the plane to Boston because I finished it in one sitting, how much I enjoy it. So the question to you is, are you going to write one like your father?
I think that writing a book is something that you write a story. And I feel myself too young to have a story that is enough interesting. And nevertheless, I have to say that year by year, day by day, so I really see even that experience of anything is always nice to share with. I do nowadays with my kids, with friends, with the consumer when I'm doing a wine dinner and so on. So never say never.
Very good, very good. I'm sure we'll be friends for a long time, and I will be pushing you maybe in a few years to do so. I'm gonna piss up and give it back to Leica for now. I want to thank Raffaele so very much. I know how busy you are, but I think it was a tremendous hour that you spent with us, and hopefully people walk away with a much better and deeper understanding of what really Masi means. Thank you.
And it was a great pleasure for me. Thanks for the opportunity.
Thank you so much, Gianluca and Raffaele, for this time. And thank you, Gianluca, for introducing Raffaele to us, of course. So before I end the room, I wanted to ask if anybody from the room has any questions for Raffaele. Okay, so... All right. So in any case, you can send an email to us at info@italianwinepodcast.com. And also, I wanted to say that the conversation is recorded and we are going to publish it up next week, Thursday at 8 a.m. Italian time zone. This week, there's another Clubhouse. It's going to be Cynthia Chaplin. She will be interviewing Antonella Cantarutti at 5:30 our regular time slot. So thanks a lot, guys. Goodbye.
Listen to the Italian Wine Podcast wherever you get your podcasts. We're on SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Himalaya FM, and more. Don't forget to subscribe and rate the show. If you enjoy listening, please consider donating through ItalianWinePodcast.com. Any amount helps cover equipment, production, and publication costs. Until next time, cin cin.